Cool. We are live. Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here. Today we're going to be having a bit more of a laid back conversation. Last week, I think I was a bit over analytical and a bit over over crazy.
It was a bit over my head.
Yeah, I felt like I was teaching a class, and that wasn't it wasn't
I
very
like
good.
learning.
Yeah, no, I was watching it again afterwards, and I was like, "What am I doing? It's not good." But yeah, welcome guys. Good to have you. Welcome Keith. Welcome Brandon. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Let's say hi real quick. Peter came in first. Bobby, Rob, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. And that is all. We got a couple
That's all
more.
we need.
Yeah, that's all we need. I'm sure a few more people will come in as the night goes on, as the hour goes on. Oh, we've got Sam here too. Good to see you. And Kevin, good to see you as well. Let us know what you guys are wearing today. Yeah, we'll start with Keith. What are you wearing today?
The same thing. Same
Weekend
thing, different
watch?
day. Laureate Neptune.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that. It's actually hard to get in the camera.
Yeah.
It's backwards. Yeah. People know what it looks like.
Yeah. Popular watch. How about you, Brandon? What are you wearing?
Black Bay 36 SG again. Yep.
Very nice. I am wearing my SBGY 003.
Such a nice watch.
Yeah. Brandon, you were the first person I texted when I got it.
I feel very special. I did not know that.
Yeah, because I don't know if you remember, but I was going to go get the SB GK009.
Yep.
And they brought this out, and I did a 180, and I texted you a picture of it in the car, like a horrible dark picture.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I got an all caps reply back.
So a lot of excitement there for both of us.
Yeah. Peter is wearing his SARP 33, beautiful watch. What is it?
Peter pointed out maybe I didn't actually say what it was. It's I'm wearing the Laureate Neptune.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby's here. Let's have him on. Hey, Bobby, how's it going?
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Good. You've had a long day too.
Yeah, it's a rainy day here in Miami, so it's pretty raining cats and dogs.
What are you wearing, Bobby?
Actually, it's on the table, but it's the IWC Top Gun Miramar chronograph. It's a flyback chronograph. It's really nice. So
yeah. So in your color themed collection, would that be a gray?
It's a good question. It's more tobacco brown.
Tobacco, right? Oh yeah, I see.
So yes, yeah. So it's kind of legible for a pilot watch, so it's pretty nice. And I like Top Gun the movie, so
yeah. Very nice. Kevin S is wearing his Tudor North flag. Beautiful choice. I almost bought it a couple of times. Didn't. I regret it. Baby tuna for Sam. Joseph, good to see you. And he is wearing the 2nd gen orange Seiko Monster. Very nice. Alrighty. So let's get down to it. Today we're going to be talking about something we were going to talk about last week, but we ran out of time. But it was a topic suggested by Keith. It was, have you guys ever made a 180? I'm sure you have. But basically, when you've gone into an AD to take a look at a watch, have you been pleasantly surprised when you thought it was a watch that wasn't very nice? Or have you been the other way around? A watch you really anticipated trying on, but then you found it wasn't very nice, or it didn't work for you. So yeah, Keith, since you suggested the topic, how about you go first?
Sure. I feel like I have two that I'll say. The first one is if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, what's your favorite watch you've never tried on, I would have said the Rolex Explorer. Now, technically, I would have said the 36 millimeter. But one day, I walked into a Rolex and they just had a Rolex Explorer in the case. I was very surprised it was there, so I decided to try it on. And first of all, I mean, it was a 39 millimeter, the current version, so it was just way too big. I felt like it was too big. I asked the guy there, and he said it looked fine, but he wouldn't go any bigger, whatever that means. But yeah, once I saw it in person, I just felt it was what people like about the Rolex Explorer. It's kind of like the understated, one watch collection. And when I saw it, I just felt I was just bored by it. It doesn't really, because of the exact reason people like it is just, nothing really stands out. It's just, just as fine as my Hamilton khaki mechanical, same type of deal.
Right.
So after that, that's one of my least favorite Rolexes now.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I was so into that watch. I remember looking at that all the time on, Chrono 24, at least the 36 millimeter version, and I couldn't believe the prices a couple of years ago, and now I really can't believe the prices. So
yeah,
so that's one of them. Go ahead.
What size is your wrist? It's 6 1/4, right?
Yeah, mine's 6 1/4.
Yeah. So
I measured the spot I actually wear my watch. It's actually a little less than 6 1/4. So
yeah,
and those, anything Rolex Oyster case that wears way bigger than you would think. You think it would.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that scratched that off my list. And then another watch I was really into before I tried it on was the Oris Diver 65, the 40 millimeter version it just has the bronze on like the outside of the bezel, not the whole bezel, but just the outside of the bezel. And again, it's a little big because the bezel is so small, the dial is really big on it. And I felt like the bracelet felt cheaper, and I'm sure it's comfortable, but it just felt kind of cheap for the price. And so I scratched that off my list. And then later on, someone pointed out the fact that the Fotina on the markers is a different shade than the Fotina on the hands. And once someone said that, it's like I can't unsee it. I can't even enjoy it now.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like they're trying to have a vintage watch where the hands were replaced at some point. Which why would you ever want to do that? So yeah, those are the two I was disappointed by.
Okay. I used to have that Oris Diver, and I do agree. It kind of didn't feel like it didn't feel its value. Like when you were holding it, it didn't feel like you were getting what you were paying for. But I think it goes back to that vintage aesthetic, like I think it's a full rivet bracelet. I don't think it's a full rivet bracelet, but it has that look of that rivet bracelet.
Right.
But yeah, it was probably one of the first nice watches I had as well. The Oris Diver 65 bronze bezel. So that exact one.
Well, it's crazy I had that feeling with that watch because the Oris Aquas, I have the complete opposite feeling. It feels like it's more expensive than the price.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's worlds apart.
Right.
Yeah. Any experiences where you've had the other way around? Like you really wanted to, you really not like to watch?
Yeah, I mentioned this before, and I'm going to point out another Rolex, but someone at work let me borrow her Rolex Datejust, the 36 millimeter black dial. I think that one was purchased in 2007, so I don't think they make this exact one anymore, but I was blown away by the bracelet. First of all, there's nothing nicer than a Rolex bracelet, that's for sure. Even on the other ones I've tried, it fit perfectly on my wrist. At first I felt it was a little small, but by the end of the day, I felt my khaki mechanical was slightly big. But man, I really enjoyed my time with that watch, and I didn't think I would like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Your experiences differ on two Rolex 36 millimeter watches completely. One Rolex,
right. Well, one was a 39 millimeter version.
39. Okay.
The Explorer's a 39 millimeter version. Maybe I feel differently with the 36. I don't know. But it's also, when did they stop making that? 2009 or something. It doesn't have it's not as nice of a bracelet and clasp as they make today. So yeah, I'd be curious to see how I felt about it. But either way, I mean, I'm not paying that price for it. So
Well, some good It's a good entrance there. Guys, let us know if you've had those Watch 180s when you've gone in to see if you liked something, you found you didn't like it, or the opposite. If you've gone to see a watch that you're really excited for, but then been really disappointed by it. Share it in the chat.
I did see a Rolex Explorer 39 also one time in a display. I didn't even wear it because I didn't like the dial, like you said. It was a little plain, kind of reminded me of school, like in your school, the clock on the side.
Right, exactly, yeah.
The Arab numerals. But on the same day there was a Milgauss on the side, which was like so much more interesting. With like the lightning hands and kind of weird type of way, but it's more interesting than the Rolex. So I can see your point from the
Which dial color?
the electric blue. The blue
yeah.
with the green glass. It's somewhere here.
Yeah, I think they call it Z Blue.
The Z Blue. Yep, I have the watch here, but it's somewhere. But it's a really nice.
That's the one I go for sure.
Yeah.
Did you pick it up that day?
Yeah, because it was the beginning of like the end of stainless steel pieces in retail. It was declining. Like the Submariner was going away, from the shelves and everything. So it was fun. It was interesting to see those two watches.
Yeah, I felt like it really influenced the watches I bought afterwards, because now, especially for a steel bracelet watch, I don't want just white and black. I want something a little more interesting. Like the Laurier has the gilt on it. It has a cool plexiglass crystal. It has the flat link bracelet. It has a lot to look at. Or, the Oris I have has a cool blue color dial. So I'm looking for, watches a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because what I wear is usually so subdued. I'm usually wearing black, or for work, a whiter blue shirt. So I'll use the watch to stand out a little more.
Yeah, so we have Kiro here as well. Kiro is wearing the Mako USA 2 in white. Thanks for joining us, man. Kyle is here. Good to see you. He said he was disappointed by the Soko light dial. That I think is a silverish dial with a straight brushing. It's like bamboo themed, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the. I've actually not seen it in person. I think it was a US only special edition, so a lot of these watches I haven't seen in person, just online. Kevin says that there are better GS choices than the Sokos. It's like a starter GS. It kind of is. It has that the base model spring drive shell, or the base of that watch is the lower end spring drive model, which coincidentally wears really well. So they should utilize that case and that style more. But it has a display case back. Peter was disappointed by the SPB 143. Whoa, love the picture, but on my wrist it didn't wow me. Then was surprised I fell in love with the Breitling Heritage 2 blue dial and bezel. That's I think the 57, the Breitling Heritage 57 with the blue dial, or the Super Ocean Heritage 2. Not too familiar.
I like how you said whoa. That wasn't on the comments. I think you were the one who said whoa.
Yeah, I did say whoa, because I really like the 143. That's the gray dialed 62 mass recreation. So I really like that one. But that's great. Well, it's
Would you
great.
go for the gray or that blue one, the limited edition blue?
I had the blue one.
That's right.
I would go for the gray one.
Oh, okay.
I bought the blue one because of the hype, and I should have gone for the gray one. So I sold the blue one on. But yeah, I should have got the gray one. I probably would still have it if I had the gray one. Kevin S really likes the Diver 65. In his experience, he tried on a Planet Ocean Oreo GMT. A bit big for me, built like a tank for sure. I've tried that one on too. Yeah, I definitely can't pull that off.
I mean, the Planet Ocean is a really good watch. Like, if it was a little thinner, I think a lot of people would have.
Yeah.
And then I think the first generations, like I know the current ones are like 43 millimeters, but the first generation I think is 37.5. and a lot of people like those types of watches for Planet Ocean options that for smaller wrists.
Yeah. I don't know if there was a one in between the 39.5.
Yeah.
That one is high on my list for watches to buy.
Mhm.
It wears really well. I've always heard the Planet Ocean is really heavy, and that one wasn't heavy. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the bracelet. So that's really up there on watches to get in the future. I really want a Reverso first though.
I was shocked that they didn't release a special edition for the 90th anniversary of the Reverso.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Was
I
it?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I would have thought something big would have come out.
But I'm not sure if it's because the Richemont Group is probably going to do it together. Maybe.
Oh,
okay.
So that I would be totally surprised if they don't release something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they're waiting for the 100.
Oh yeah, I'm really thinking the next month or two when JLC, Panerai, everybody sends out their own models
Yeah.
together.
Mario G is joining us. Good to see you, Mario. Thanks for joining us. He was more impressed with Kevin. Sorry, was more impressed with the Tissot PRX quartz when he saw them in person. So more impressed with the quartz PRX than the Planet Ocean.
I was just watching a PRX review right before we started.
Oh, really?
And yeah, the lug to lug, someone measured it. When he actually starts to taper and it's like 51 millimeters, I'm like, that's out.
Was it by chance the Time to Go review?
No, this was Watch Chris.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sam was just talking about this in our chat last night. He did not like the white birch. Amazing case, amazing dial, amazing movement, lackluster bracelet. Or I shouldn't say he didn't like the white birch.
He just didn't like the bracelet.
Yeah, he didn't like the bracelet.
I'm surprised about that too. I mean, it seemed like that was everything looked great on the pictures, but
Yeah.
Sam wore it, so
I thought the bracelet was going to be an improvement from what I've read. At least I've heard that it's been an improvement, but I haven't actually seen it in person. We'll find out. I'll eventually see it. Some more chat over here. We got Miguel joining in as well. Good to see you, Miguel. Thanks for joining us. All right, so Brandon, you're next.
Yeah.
You're clockwise.
Ooh, okay. Watches I did a 180 on. Honestly, I feel like there are certain brands that I was really hoping to like that completely disappointed me in person. And disappointed me from a very personal perspective of I just don't think I could wear the watches. But one of them was Nomos. And I really wanted to love Nomos. And the first time I saw them in person, I realized that most of the watches, the lugs are so long that there was no way they were going to fit on my 6.5-inch wrist. And a lot of the dials just are very plain. And I understand that this being Bauhaus and minimalism, like it's supposed to look a certain way. But I just didn't really feel anything looking at them and ended up not being interested ever since. And then the next thing I did a 180 on was the Snowflake. I'd built up so much anticipation about that watch, seen so many articles, watched all the videos. And when my AD got it in, I went to see it and it was just way too thick. It's a beautiful watch, but it was another situation where I realized the importance of trying these watches on in person because, man, something can seem so perfect on paper and it just will not work on your wrist. So yeah, I think those were my big 180s. I think
which Top Gun? Sorry, not Nomos. Which model was it that you were looking at? Was it like because I think don't they have the sporty type with like the Campus or
the Club?
Which has the Club?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So even those, the 36 millimeter watches have like 48 or 50 millimeter lug to lug lengths, which is just real long.
Okay.
So I kind of kept sizing down until I realized that it was like the 35 millimeter Orions around that size that would fit my wrist. So yeah.
Yeah, the Orions have really long lugs, but
Yeah.
I noticed the Tangentes, those ones actually, since they have a stepped lug, it's kind of, it comes out and then it goes down at an angle. Those tend to wear really well.
Okay.
I don't know if you actually tried a Tangente. I like it, but your dial complaint is still applies.
Yes.
to those.
Yeah. And there's something about their like straight thin lugs that just don't do it for me. So,
Yeah, understandable. I actually, the only Nomos that I really liked was the Tetra, and that was the one I had for a while. I had for about 6 months, mainly to review. So once I did spend some time with it, I was okay with moving it on. But hot take, unpopular opinion, but I too think Nomos watches are kind of cartoony. You know, not the nicest for me. I nothing against the impressiveness of, you know, the fact that they actually have in-house movements, that they assemble them themselves, and those the fact that they do all those things is really impressive, and I'm really impressed with that. But they have the Autobahn that looks like a cartoon speedometer, and it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Brandon, are you interested in Bauhaus in general, or did that?
Yes, I am interested in Bauhaus in general. My first kind of nice-ish watch was this quartz max build that was gifted to me by my dad when I graduated college. So that's kind of how I started like researching more into watches and stuff. So yeah, just feel an affinity towards German watches because of that.
I think Nomos is the only brand, like what Sanjay was saying, cartoony, but they're dressy watches too, right?
Yeah.
They're not more so. It's like I wouldn't say any other brand has cartoony looking dressy watches than Nomos.
Yeah. And the snowflake thing, I totally get as well. Even though I found, you know, I was okay with wearing it. I did have it, wear it for a year. And I think I probably would have kept it if it weren't for my my issues I had with it in terms of it getting all scratched up.
Yeah.
Which I'm over now. I'm more mature. I'm not a I was gonna say I'm not a baby, but I'm sorry, Keith, because I know you don't like scratches.
Hey, I'm trying to get over it. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally get it. It's super thick, and a 41 millimeter is kind of a really big watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand. Even though I probably would own it again. I think the titanium made that thickness a bit more manageable for me, at least. Let's jump into the chat real quick. Bobby gives us first super chat. Wow. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Rob. I actually just enabled them because Rob asked me to enable them.
Get it all planned.
Rob, that's really nice. He said that he wanted to like Nomos too. But yeah, I really wanted to like Nomos as well.
Yeah.
And I do. I like the idea of Nomos. Let's say.
Hey, if anyone in the chat has experience with Stova and the Marine range of watches in particular, please let me know your thoughts, because very into those, and they're a much lower price point. So
yeah, those dials look really crisp. And beautiful. Yeah. Let's see. Peter C as well. Same here regarding Nomos. Looks better than it feels for me. And I think Sam had a comment as well. He did I miss it? Oh, there you go. He said that Nomos lugs feel like they can break off. Of the automatic movements. I really like the pneumatics. Man, they're beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. The lugs do look like they can break off. They're really thin, like the wire lugs. But I mean, most of their watches are 30 meters water resistant, and you're not really supposed to bang them around. Just wear them with care. So Yeah, so that doesn't make it okay.
I mean, like you look at watches like I think it was the original Panerai radio mirror
Mhm.
had like welded on wire lugs too, and those took a beating. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Eric, good to see you. Thanks for joining us, and he's going to mail me some swag. All right, I'm looking forward to it. I will strongly considering Nomos as my first luxury piece. The in-house automatic movement. Those are pricey.
Yeah.
I mean, understandably so, but they are quite pricey.
Yeah, I was looking at the Minimatic, which is the watch that the Neomatic movement debuted in.
Okay.
It's beautiful, 35.5 millimeters, very short lug to lug. You don't see it too often in the ADs or the boutiques, but I think that's either 4,300 or 4,650, which for Nomos just feels like a lot considering their place in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and there was a Tetra. I mean, the only Nomos that I'm really interested in is the Tetra, and they had a really nice Neomatic brushed Tetra, silver brushed Tetra. And I was seriously considering it, but then I was thinking, man, these are really, really expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I could get something else. I don't love it enough to put that kind of money down on one. Especially because a Grand Seiko silver brush dial would be pretty close. Kevin S says, way more impressed when I first saw the SBGP 015 in person. Blue dial, blue ceramic bezel, looked much better in person. It's interesting. That was a watch I used to own. I think Kevin said he was going to buy it from me, but I sold it already in one of the chats sometime back. Stoa Marine original silver dial, swan neck regulator, swirly barrels. Want to get one. Penny's here. Hey, Penny. Good to see you. MD Chats. Good to see you as well. His first nice watch was the SBGP 015 as well. Look at that. All right. Bobby, you're up. Did you do any watch 180? You must.
Yeah, I did. I think the one that really pops up in my mind is that might be a small of a hot take, but the Royal Oak Offshore. The AP, I based on my color theme, I think I like the AP Safari. It's one of the older models, and it was documented as 42 millimeters, and I think it's like 15 millimeters thick. It's a beautiful dial. It's a cream dial. It looks really interesting, but putting it on, it was really, really heavy, top heavy. And especially without a bracelet, because the Royal Oak Offshore doesn't have a bracelet, it doesn't distribute the weight. So it felt like I was wearing an octagon on my wrist, and then just covering it with the leather strap. And the leather strap wasn't really good either. I've seen much better leather straps at much lower price points. It was a deploying strap, and I just felt, it was the second one there. It was a really good. You can even see it on the picture that it looks really like sizable, even if those 42, it wears like 44, 45 millimeters. And I don't think the weight was really well distributed with that first generation Royal Oak Offshores. And so even though the watch dial looks really good, this is one of the scenarios in which I definitely think if anybody who wants to get a Royal Oak Offshore, they definitely have to wear it on their wrist. Because it's something that has to fit certain wrists and not every wrist. I just still love that dial. But that being said, I've and the screws are perfectly. The finishing is beautiful on the case and everything. It's just that you can even see you saw the strap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the back of the strap doesn't look, and it's flaring out a little bit. What do you call it? I forgot what it's called. Oh my gosh, I don't know if the audience knows what it's called, a horntail, or how it flares out on the top top of the thing. There's some projection out. So it was really like I shouldn't say monstrosity, but it was like a little bit of a big watch to wear. And even the 15500, the newest AP Royal Oak, not the offshore even, that also is a very beautiful watch, and I know everybody loves it offshore, but I think it's so beautiful, the bracelet, that you don't want to even wear it. And Keith, definitely, if you're scared about scratches, you just have to look at it, and then you might even scratch it if you just touch it onto the desk. So,
Right.
I know that everybody loves, and I can essentially see why everybody the jumbo, the 39 millimeter, which is thinner, fits everyone's wrist, because even though they say it's like 10.9 or 11 millimeters thick, it wears bigger. So whenever you're thinking about a Royal Oak, it wears bigger than the size.
Yeah.
I think it's 41 millimeters, this new 15500.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that kind of blew my mind when I said, oh my gosh, I don't like the Royal Oak line. But hey, it's not for me.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I when I first saw the Royal Oak, I thought it was hideous. I thought it was horrendous. But then it really grew on me. And I think it's my favorite of the big three, overseas versus
Yeah,
Royal Oak
absolutely.
versus,
Yeah.
what's the other one? The Nautilus. Nautilus, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Nautilus is the most hideous thing I've ever seen. It looks
As owner of the other two, I would have to strongly disagree. But that being said, the Royal Oak definitely has the best bracelet, hands down. Like the best bracelet of all the three. It's not even comparable. I don't think there's any bracelet that's comparable to the Royal Oak. But again, it is a scratch magnet, and it's nice to look at. If you want to use it in your daily wear, it's definitely not going to be. It's going to be scratched up within like a month. I don't know how people cannot scratch it.
So you have a Nautilus?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's my white. It's I nicknamed it a snow leopard because I got it not a long time ago, like 4 years ago, before everybody got crazy drunk with it, and nobody liked the white dial. So I don't know if you've ever seen the white dial, but it's much more rare. Not rare, much more less popular. It used to be less popular than the blue dial. And I actually got it below retail, so that was really nice.
So
I just liked it. Yeah, that's the
sorry. That's the exact one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And I like the dial. It looks a little more stark contrast with the black and the white on the white dial, and I just didn't like the blue color of the Nautilus. And you guys are right about the Nautilus having the bracelet is really bad. Of all the three, yeah. It's like a clamshell bracelet. You have to pull it, and then it's really bad. I can't even explain how bad it is. It's definitely not worth the hype right now. I definitely would say it's totally. Yeah, I don't like that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I really don't like this one. I think it's an ugly shade of blue.
Yeah.
Again, to kind of qualify my statements, I've never handled it. I've never seen it in person. So this could be a watch 180 for me, but but I've never enjoyed this Nautilus. I can totally see why you like the white dial one though. I really like the outlined indices. I think that's really beautiful.
And it blends more, in my opinion. It doesn't. There's no stark contrast. It kind of blends into the case and into the bracelet with the silvery white. And I think in the chat there somebody was saying, and that's the best one actually to wear daily. If you had to choose between three, it's the Vacheron Constantin Overseas, which is like the second best bracelet and probably the best blue dial amongst all three, in my opinion. And that's my blue watch. So that's.
I agree. The blue dial of the Overseas is just stunning. I don't like the Maltese cross on the bracelet, like the shape of the Maltese cross. So again, that could be another 180 that I make, but the 180 I did make was with the Royal Oak. When I did see that, at first I was like, oh man, this is hideous. But then the screws and just the aesthetic of it, the bracelet especially, that really hooked me after a while, and it kind of grew on me. While the other two, the Overseas, I'm okay with, but the Nautilus is a hard pass. At least.
And the thing with Vacheron is you have the option of quick changing to rubber strap and a leather strap that comes with the watch, and it's the same thing with Cartier. The Cartier Santos has the same. The new, I guess most of the Richemont brands now have it. The Cartier Santos is deploying the 3 straps. There's like you can have a strap and you have a bracelet option that's quick release.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
actually seen that. I've actually played around with it. It's really intuitive. It's a
Mhm.
good system. But
and
go ahead.
the watch that kind of turned me over, because those are watches that I liked that I tried on. I was like, oh no, I'm disappointed. And the one that actually that's why I'm wearing it right now is the I guess the IWC Pilot, the Top Gun. I have a 7-inch wrist, and I don't know if you guys can see. If it kind of, it's not too bad when I guess I should wear like this, right? I'm not used to these streams, but it doesn't wear that bad. But you know how this is actually 46 millimeters,
Oh wow.
Whoa.
and now it's kind of like, but when I was wearing it, it was like ceramic, so it's really light. And it's not like the steel versions of other watches. If this is 46 millimeter steel, I was like, oh, I'll be. And the lugs are kind of short too on this watch.
Mhm.
And since it was not scratch and there's no scratches on, I wear this mostly to work or something. And even if I ding it on the desk, there won't be any scratches. So 46 millimeter ceramic, that kind of told me I can wear a 46, but I know it's not for everybody. But again, the dimensions documented online are not the ones that you, unless you wear it in person. Like Keith was wearing 39 millimeter Rolex Explorer. It didn't, he might have felt differently than another person wearing a 39 millimeter watch. So I think, and the ceramic material of the case also changes your feelings about stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how that works. Like you think when you have something down on paper that it would be black and white. It would be easy to differentiate, but even a 38 millimeter watch, the Longines Heritage Classic, the sector dial, I couldn't wear it on my wrist, even though it's
Long
38
lugs.
millimeters. Yeah, long lugs, and they're straight, like they're flat, and so it always kind of was lopsided on my wrist, and wasn't a pretty look when I went to check the time.
But this is actually thicker than the Royal Oak Offroader, which I just told you guys about. This is thicker, but this is ceramic, so it's lighter. Like it's not top heavy, so I can, it's different. I guess that's the.
Have you seen the new IWC, the Ceratanium titanium ceramic mix?
Yeah, I have to be skeptical about it because I think the 90s. I mean, if you look at the old original one, it looked a little better in my opinion, with a little bit yellower, patina on it. It had a little more, like Keith and Brandon were saying, the dial has to track you, and the new one looks really stealthy, but it looks really sterile too. Like it's like, okay, black and white, and that's it. There's no pop of color, or so I wouldn't. I feel like I'm more interested in the original than the.
Yeah. Mario G says he prefers the Overseas over the Royal Oak. Kiro says Royal Oak is better than the Nautilus. Kevin would take any of them. For a sport watch with the integrated bracelet, I go Maurice Lacroix as a beater and get another more refined pieces for special occasions. I baby the VC too much. It's a very valid point. There's a nice watch called a Tudor Royal.
Not that you're biased or anything.
No, not biased. Kevin says Rolex and Grand Seiko is about high horology as they go. I agree. It's kind of like limiting ourselves, but I would feel far too horrible to not projecting on anyone or anything. Bobby, it's great that you wear them, but I personally would feel horrible wearing something that expensive. Again,
I think and another thing is like the Vacheron at the time I got it. It wasn't like crazy right now. I think I got it like 2 years ago, and it was below retail, and it was, I think, cheaper than like the secondhand values of Rolex stainless steel models, like the Hulk and the Submariner are going down for 5 digits. Wow! You can get you could have gotten a Vacheron overseas for low teens, like 13, I think that, or 12.
Wow!
Which is like, if you're gonna give me an option of Vacheron Constantine Royal overseas versus a stainless steel Submariner. Sorry, Submariner.
Because they're 20 something right now, right?
Yeah, their retail is like 19, I think, and
Okay.
now they're going above retail because now nobody's getting everything is risen up a little bit.
Yeah.
Kyle agrees with Kevin. Other than the Calatrava, nothing from the big three interests me at all. Bobby or Rob says, "Did the IWC looks good on you, Bobby?"
Bobby Love right there.
Good looking IWC. Interested in getting something two-toned these days. Need that old school 80s vibe. Oh,
Yes.
boy, does Brandon have the watch for you.
Well, I will say that Brandon completely changed my thoughts on two-tone. I used to hate it. And now every time I see a picture of that Tudor, the 36 Black Bay, I'm just like, that's a good looking watch there.
Man, so this is one of the things that I did a complete 180 on. I used to not like two-tone at all. It felt very old man to me, very 80s Wall Street banker. And then my first job out of college, the guy who started the company he would really kind of get down in the dirt with us and like put in the work, but he did everything with a two-tone bluesy sub on his wrist. And the first time I saw it, this was when I was first getting into watches. I asked him, "Hey, is that a Submariner?" He was like, "Oh yeah, it is. Here, do you want to see it?" Picked it up and like, first of all, the heft is. If you've never picked up a gold watch before, when you pick up a gold watch, it just breaks your brain a little bit that something could be this heavy. And I just kind of really enjoyed the contrast of it, but I didn't want to admit it. A couple days later, we had a work event where some clients took us out and they're having this like really tense businessy conversation. And I just keep zoning out, staring at this guy's wrist. And it just kept catching my attention. I think it had a lot to do with the contrast of like the gold and the stainless steel. Also, the blue dial on the bluesy is so nice. It's just very fun. But I still didn't think two-tone was for me. Then I tried on the Black Bay 36, completely fell in love with that watch, thought it was amazing, and thought I would get it in stainless steel until I saw Sanjay's two-tone model. I just couldn't stop thinking about that watch. So I went into an AD to see it, and man, you put that thing on your wrist, and especially the bracelet. We were just talking about Rolex bracelets earlier. This feels very similar to the Rolex Jubilee to me. I haven't owned one long term, but like I've tried one on. It's just a wonderful watch, and especially at that price point, I think it's pretty great. So yeah, if you're looking for two-tone, look into Tudor. I will say that only the bezels are solid gold. All of the gold links and the crown are capped gold, but I believe the crowns are capped gold for all watches.
I can't
But
comment. My 80 said the crown was solid gold, but again, there's no solid data. Like Tudor won't tell you.
Yeah.
But-
I was looking into it, and what I was seeing was that apparently it can just be dangerous if the crown is solid gold because it's just so soft.
Okay.
So they tend to just be capped in order to keep the structural integrity of the crown.
Yeah, I think Omega, like, what do you call it, adds other materials into the gold for those pushers and everything. So, like you said, gold by itself is very, very soft.
Yeah.
So.
Mhm.
Is that the Tudor Jubilee like bracelet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know the Tudor had a Jubilee bracelet. That's pretty cool.
It's only on. I don't know why this isn't focusing. That's so annoying. Aha! There we go.
There.
Yeah.
I can see the gold. I can see the gold. That looks like the Gordon Gecko look right there. The gold and steel. Yeah, I see it. Beautiful. What color is it out?
The dial is black.
Black. Okay.
There is a champagne sunburst dial as well, but I have I got the Black Bay 58 just before this, and I loved that kind of textured matte dial. But knowing that the Black Bay 36's black dial was like this very deep kind of gloss, I figured it would make a nice pairing.
Was
And
there
now-
a blue too option, or was this black and champagne?
No, so there's a blue only for the stainless steel.
I see. Okay.
Yep, that's another watch I owned for a short while, 6 months or so. Flipper till I die, bro. I don't know if you guys get that reference, but
I don't think so.
the Timepiece Gentleman. There was that reality show thingy that
Oh, okay.
there was one guy who I think he peeled off the stickers off like a green dialed Rolex Daytona, and the other guy was like, "You're crazy, man. What are you doing?" Because he he destroyed the value, the stickered Rolex, right? Because it was his own piece. And the guy walked out of the room saying, "Bro, no, bro, flipper till I die, bro." But yeah, little inside joke. Penny was saying a watch that she found disappointing in person has been the Omega Railmaster. I think the proportions are off and should be 39 or 38, more of a vintage size. I personally don't mind the Railmaster. I like it a lot, especially the 57 edition. But I hear you. It would all these watches would be so much nicer if it was a couple of millimeters shorter, smaller,
and a couple grand cheaper.
Yeah, of course. MD Chaz was asking about the bracelet of Grand Seiko. He's having a heck of a time taking out the bracelet, put on a fabric strap. I'm not sure which model you have, but if you have, most Grand Seikos have drilled lugs, so you should be able to slip in a spring bar tool through the lugs and pop it right out. I've never had issues taking off my Grand Seiko bracelets. So yeah, just be careful. Slip in a spring bar tool through the lug. I know the SBGP 015 has really tiny apertures for the spring bar, so you need to find something that's small enough to push through. Yeah, so I guess I'll go with mine. My 180s. First one, I would say the negative one would be the Skyflake. I love the Skyflake. All the pictures I saw about it since it came out were leading me to saying this will be a watch I own. This is the alternative to the Snowflake. Now that I don't have the Snowflake, it's in steel. It's a beautiful shade of blue, and I thought it was in the case of the SBGM 221. So I thought it had the same case as the SBGM 221, which is the GMT cream dial GMT, really popular Grand Seiko model. But when I saw it in person, it had kind of a kettle shaped case, so it was really different, and it was just big. It wore a lot bigger than the GMT. The GMT kind of has a rounded case, so because it has that curve, it makes the dial a bit smaller and it wears a bit better. And overall, it's a really nice dimensions on that watch. But yeah, the Skyflake kind of lost its charm after I saw it in person. It was kind of squat. It was kind of big, a little awkward for me. And I have a really small wrist, so someone else might really enjoy it if they saw it. But for me, it was just as soon as they saw it, I still wanted to buy it, but I was just like, yeah, I can't.
I enjoyed it a lot. I looked at it and I was almost going to get it. Then I saw the spring seasons one and I got that instead. But the Skyflake was a beautiful, like you said, the dial was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't too like thrown off with the case shape, like you said, but it's big. It wears bigger than even the Snowflake. You owned the Snowflake before too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It wears bigger than the Snowflake. So
yeah,
I agree with that aspect of it.
yeah. Do you have a baby blue watch, or is that gonna hit your collection at one?
No. So the blue is one of the hardest colors to say which is the best blue dial out there. Like Brandon was saying, the Bluesy, the Rolex Bluesy was beautiful blue. Mm-hmm. I still think the best blue color dial was Vacheron. Irrespective of brands, I look at the color, and Vacheron, and I mean, I guess FP Journ's Carnavet Blue, which is unattainable, was the other option. And then I think there's so many good blue DLLs out there. Like really, so I like the darker. And then I have the Z Blue for the lighter blue. The,
Okay, yeah.
So
Right, I forgot about the blue. So those colors are covered in your collection.
yes, the blue still.
Have you guys heard about the new citizen movement? New citizen collaboration with Lejeune Perret, New Mechanical.
No.
Yeah, I've not heard about this either. Bobby or Rob has heard about it.
It's
Skate.
yeah. I was going to say it's super expensive. I heard.
Yeah.
They jumped.
Yeah, I think it's another integrated bracelet type deal.
Yeah. Let's look it up real quick. Lejeune Perret citizen. I'm just going to type citizen 0200. Okay. Oh, okay. That reminds me of the Chopek.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's really nice. I like that.
Ooh.
You
That looks
guys haven't heard about this at all? I think Bobby, you probably heard about this. Sure.
yeah, I did hear about it. I think it was on some live stream too. But yeah, like what Bobby likes was saying, 6K SD. But I do like the design of it. It looks very clean.
Mm-hmm.
I like the seconds on the small seconds on the bottom of the dial.
I
Yeah.
love the hands. Those are very
Mm.
Grand Seiko-esque hands.
Yes,
Dauphine hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice.
I don't like the way the case goes into the lugs though. Like the bracelet.
Yeah.
hmm
There's some spacing there. I think you were scrolling down, and there was some space between the.
It almost looked like you could take the bracelet off and
Yes.
the strap.
Yes,
Yeah.
there we go. It's like there's
Yeah,
like it's like a no, press me, I'll fall off.
No, I think I see what you're talking about. It's very. They look almost like hooded lugs in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There we go. That's
It's got a drilled lug too. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Unnecessary.
it's
That's
next. It's
interesting.
all brushed though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Except these
Polished flanks
sides. Yeah.
on the bezel and the sides. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Very impressed. Thanks for sharing that with us, Biggie. Penny really likes your watch, Brandon.
Thank you, Penny.
Zodiac Sea Wolf two-tone might be a good knock-around choice.
Yes. Very cool.
I don't know. Would that be real gold? Like,
No, it's just gold toned.
right.
Yeah.
Kiro really likes the Citizen. Penny says the 57 Royal Master is great. The modern one is chunky. I hear you there. The 57 one is the Rail Master of choice for me. Sam says, rather get a Citizen Chronomaster over GS Quartz. Better accuracy tolerance on the Citizen and also much more unique paper dials. That's interesting. I've not had enough experience with Citizen to comment, but since they are the underdogs, I would expect much better value. And considering GS Quartz is generally a good value, I'm guessing the Citizen would be amazing value.
So I think in terms of volume, Citizen might sell the most watches like annually of all brands.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it might be Seiko, but
I think like over Seiko.
really?
Which is yeah. Double
Well,
check.
I guess secondary to Apple, right? Apple's probably
Yeah.
still.
Yes.
Apple just dominate everybody.
That's not a watch.
It's not a watch.
I'm just joking. Jonathan, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Which watch do you mean, Jonathan? The Citizen or the thumbnail? The thumbnail is the Tudor Royal. Ah.
He must mean the Citizen.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
The other one, the other 180 I did in a positive light was actually the Tudor Royal. I was actually not interested in the Tudor Royal. it just popped up. I was like, yeah, whatever. It kind of looks weird and strange, but when I had played with it, when I actually held it in my hands, I was like, whoa, this is a lot of value for the money. It's 2,700 Canadian. Um, the
That's a lot
profile
of
of the case, I even prefer it over the modern Rolexes, because Rolexes have like sheer sides, um, most of them at least. But these ones have like a curve, which I really enjoy. It kind of like a water droplet sitting on your wrist. That's
Mhm.
something I really enjoy. So the Tudor Royal was a big 180 for me. I played with it for a bit. It wasn't even on my radar, and I walked out with it. The first time was the steel and gold. Um, my wife really didn't like it. It was a bit too flamboyant. So you guys have heard the story. Um, I returned that and eventually got the blue dialed one, which wasn't the one I really wanted. I really didn't want the blue dial one because everyone is into the blue dial steel sports craze, but it was there. My dealer had a authorized dealer. I don't like saying dealer. It sounds like a illegal thing,
I like
but
it. I really didn't want it, but it was there, so I picked it up.
no, I really didn't want it.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
you didn't want it. Okay.
yeah,
but I
when
got
I
it.
see it, I was just yeah.
But
It's such a good value. Um,
I'm really
so
impressed by the color dial. The dial,
yeah,
the
yeah.
blue is really good. Again, it's really hard to distinguish which is the best blue out there. The
Mhm.
Rolex family does a really good blue color, Tudor and Rolex. So.
Mhm.
I prefer generally the darker navy blues of Grand Seiko, like the signature Grand Seiko blue is one of my favorite blues. It's dark, it's rich, and when the light hits it, it just becomes really vibrant. Um, the Seiko Alpinist kind of hits that, the Hodinkee Alpinist, but I think the texture on the Alpinist makes it look a little cheap, um, as in not very high end.
There was a
So
Hodinkee Alpinist.
yeah, yeah, it was a huge
Amazing.
controversy too, because it sold out in seconds or minutes. No one was able to get it, and it was kind of like a money grab, and people were upset. Scalpers were charging out the wazoo.
Of course they were.
Yeah, this was before Hodinkee watches were really taking off. I think that was one of the first, at least to my recollection.
Okay.
Yeah. Jonathan says he really likes the two-tone royal. Joyce Samantha, good to see you. He likes the size and feel of the royal as well. Just preferred something to fill up the empty space at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I totally get that. A nice crypt automatic or something would have been nice to fill in the space, but I don't mind it. I kind of like it empty as well because you get to see more of that rich sun ray brushing on the dial. So yeah, we're about to hit that 1 hour mark. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about, or any news from the week that you might want to hit on?
I feel like I did, and now just completely spaced.
Yeah.
I think Omega also released a quick release on their Seamaster right last week. One of
Yeah.
their,
Yeah.
I think
There-
that might be something that is going to be in the future because that
Yes.
would probably give a better option than. And then, of course, years from now, Rolex will release a like a new. I don't think they're going to do a quick release Rolex, but Omega doing it is probably a game changer for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the thing with Rolex is, especially a lot of their current watches look like they're designed to be worn on the bracelet. They look not great on straps.
Mhm.
So I highly doubt they would change anytime soon.
Yeah. Sam says that a smiley face would have been good. Self-winding, rotor self-winding on the Tudor. That actually would look good on the Tudor Royal.
Yeah. I think the reason why they changed it is because that's historically only been on ETA based movements in Tudors. So any Tudor that's had an ETA has had the smiley dial. The Royal was the first time that they switched entirely over to what's the other brand? Begins with S, I think. Solita.
Oh, okay.
Now they are Sellita SW2000s, like modded ones.
Yeah,
But that's why they've taken the smiley rotor self-winding text off.
but they apparently changed the Black Bay 36, the Black Bay smooth bezel lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, those ones are Sellita SW200 based as well.
Really?
Yeah, but they've
Wow.
still kept the smiley face rotor self winding on that. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. Almost shady, but I wouldn't say shady because it's basically a clone of the same movement, and Tudor does modify it supposedly. So I don't have a huge problem with them switching over to Sellita, but yeah, I guess you can't really break that news to anyone. You can't really do a press release and say, "Hey, we're switching over to Sellita now."
Yeah, yeah. So on that note, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I'm fairly new to watches, so the idea of servicing my watches isn't something that I thought about a lot. And then eventually, when I had to think about it, I realized that I may prefer ETA-based movements just because I could take it to a regular watchmaker as opposed to send it off for 6 months and not know when I'm getting it back and pay $600.
600.
But that's how much Omega quoted me to service the Aquaterra, and I'm not looking forward to that.
I was gonna say 600 is cheap.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. For a Swiss,
How much is a normal service?
Well, I guess it depends on where you are. I've heard service at regular watchmakers, local watchmakers, can be as cheap as $100, $200. But I'm budgeting like well over 1,000, 2,000.
Wow. Okay.
For at least the spring drives, just in case.
yeah. Does anybody know how? Because the spring drives, I don't know if it's the spring drive. I don't know how any other. It has to go to Japan, right?
Yeah, at least for now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it has to go to Japan, servicing spring drive. I mean, in the end, I don't think it's like a lot of watchmakers say, just wait until something goes wrong and then service it, which is, probably 10, 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you
sure.
save like even $10 a month, you'll be fine.
Yeah. But so the thing that I was wondering was when I first kind of got into watches, I was hearing that like the best off the shelf movements were the ETAs. And a big part of that was because of the availability of replacement parts. Now that access to off the shelf ETAs, at least to brands, have significantly decreased, do you think that's going to change the standing of long-term reliability and kind of ability to get parts and stuff for ETA over Sellita?
I personally don't think so, because they are essentially the same movement. They're clones of each other. So,
Okay.
well, I mean, the ETA is, or the ETA is the original.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there are millions, if not multiple millions of these out there. So you're never gonna not be able to find replacement parts.
Yeah.
Like we can still find replacement parts for vintage Seikos that were not produced that long. It's not easy, but it's still doable. And if you can for something like a vintage Seiko, you're probably going to be fine for ETAs for decades,
Okay.
at least.
Another
Yeah.
thing is that I think like even like these huge pre-owned retailers like Watchbox are certified Omega repair places, so they'll have all the parts too. Like it's not only the big brands, like even like the big pre-owned marketplace watchmakers should have access to. So if you want to give it to your local big brand, not big, well, pre-owned brand, this thing, it'll be easy to do that.
Yeah, I don't really understand why people prefer ETA over Sellita. It seems like that's the preference. I don't really know what the difference is. Does anyone have any more information on that?
I think it's original, like there's just a bit of cachet with being the original people who made it.
Mm.
I think that's a big part. There's also concern with the Salida reversal wheels, but also with the 2824 reversal wheels. Basically, the gears, I think when you're hand winding the watch, they get engaged. And there is some issue where the gear teeth can shear off on the Salida. It's all kind of isolated incidents, so you really, I mean, you see a lot of forum posts and stuff like that, but you really can't give a definitive answer.
Yeah.
I personally just say they're pretty much the same, and I don't really care.
Even the big brands like IWC used to use for their Mark 18s those plain Mark 18 pilot watches. They used modified Salida movements, so
Okay.
it's not even like it goes throughout brands before.
Yeah. Eric was mentioning from the Watch Once Over YouTube channel, was mentioning something about the Laurel Alpinist. I thought this was already announced.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
The 1959, right? The
Yeah,
Alpinist
with the Bund strap.
yeah.
36 millimeter Bund strap. Was pretty
Are
sure.
you a fan of Bund straps?
No, no, I can't stand Bund straps. But it looks like you can easily take it out. So if I were to get it, I'll just swap it out.
I don't know if you've seen the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Brad Pitt is wearing one.
Yes.
That's the only time I've seen a guy like rock it and look good in it. Otherwise, no. Nobody else should wear that.
I always picture like a big biker guy with a Bund strap, like Harley Davidson with one of those cut off leather
Bandana,
jackets.
the bandana.
And a
Wow.
Bund strap on the wrist.
Think of the PlayStation game Uncharted. I think he wears a bun strap in that. That's always the
Who?
first thing that comes to mind.
Nathan Drake?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think he does. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've played.
yeah, same here. I
It's 700, right? 750 or something. The price of the new.
the lower 6R35 ones are 750, yeah, and the upper echelon ones are 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah. The one with the actual Bund strap, that one's
wow.
over $3,000. Because it's a 1-to-1 remake. It's got the 6L35 movement, much like the King Seiko remake. So it's a bit cheaper than. No, I think it's about the same as the King Seiko. Yeah, that's it's expensive.
3,000 is expensive.
I don't.
We're talking about 3,000 Seikos and $6,000 citizens here.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a friend of the channel, Canon. He might actually pick that up. He has an insane Seiko collection, and he's getting in the new King Seiko as well. So I wonder if he'll pick it up, but I think it's a bit too much.
I think that's the thing. I have like a couple watches to finish. I'm almost done with my watch collection, but the only thing that color that I'm pending on is yellow #gold, and Brandon telling me about the gold dials. But the other thing that I was looking for, it would be either a gold like date or something, like an old one, vintage one, like not the current one. That's too much. Or the vintage Seiko Pogue, which I thought was really, really nice. The yellow color Seiko's Pogues are really nice.
Aren't they real expensive now?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know. It's like it used to be 200, 300, but now it's like 800,000. Like I was looking at Watch Recon. I was like, wow.
I've just found one on eBay for $3,500.
Wow. I don't know if you know about the story about, I think 10 years ago, I think the original Seiko Pogue,
Yeah.
the original that Colonel Pogue was wearing, went off on eBay for a charity, and he was selling it, and it was sold for like $5,000. That's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Just imagine now, like the original Seiko Pogue worn by Colonel Pogue.
yeah. That's
somewhere.
insane.
If
Wow.
well, yeah.
Why didn't they let us know?
I like how Penny's saying she's looking up the Nathan Drake watch. I looked it
Yeah.
up too. He does wear a bun strap.
Really?
I was right. Yeah, I fact check myself.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I would not have pictured Nathan Drake with a bun strap.
All I can think of when I think of bun straps is Jason Heaton, and I don't want to shit talk them because I really want to be his friend. So I feel like I'm keeping my mouth shut only because of Jason Heaton. But otherwise, I
I'm not sure who
cannot
that is.
stand bun straps. Oh, he is a writer for Hodinky and the co-host of the Grey NATO podcast.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's him
yeah,
and James
I know
Stacey.
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jonathan mentioned that he really likes IWC. I too really like IWC, and I had the same problem. But I think Oris does a good pilot's watch that kind of evokes the feeling of an IWC with its own personality. So if you look at the Oris Big Crown Pro pilots, I highly recommend those. They're beautiful. They even released one with applied numerals, and they are absolutely stunning, especially with the applied numerals. I kind of wish I waited for the applied numeral one,
Mm.
but man, the three dimensionality is just really nice.
Adrian released a video on the Mark 18 IWC that he
Yes.
wore a couple of months ago too. That's pretty good video. And people who, and it's one of the ones that people don't look at for
Yeah.
an alternative to the Rolex Explorer.
Okay. There's another alternative to the Rolex Explorer. It's the Seiko Alpinist 36 millimeter, $3,000 for the low price of $3,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Comes with a button strap too. The nice chunk of leather.
You're really selling it.
I feel like this is blasphemous, but I've been thinking about how the Cartier Pasha is a Explorer replacement, just because of the 369 dial, and I just was not into the Pasha at all until a couple weeks ago. Maybe it's just taken a very long time to grow on me. But that latest model with the stamped guilloche dial, the painted 369, it is beautiful. And for some reason, I never understood the love behind the Explorer because I hated the 369 dial. I've never liked it on any other watch. But man, the Pasha is really growing on me.
Yeah.
So,
I really like the Pasha.
It's an underrated model of the
Yeah.
Cartier. And Cartier doesn't get that much love, I think, appreciation compared to other. When we talk about things, we talk about other brands. Cartier stands to a side. And the Pasha is one of the.
I feel like they still kind of have that. There's something very jewelry fashion brand-esque about them, and the conversations just don't happen in the same place. But it's hard not to love a Cartier. Like, they're beautiful watches.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like the Roadster. The Roadster seems like a just want to get out somewhere, do something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an aggressive watch. Jason Math, or I think Penny was saying you at Nathan Drake's watch. I'm guessing. Yeah, I haven't looked it up, but I can imagine it. It's not very pretty. Big E says IWC and Hublot can't get into them. Too much coin for what you get. Secondary market, I think they tank, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got this for secondhand.
yeah,
it's much better. And I would disagree if you can't. I mean, this watch is a flyback chronograph. If
I did not know that.
Daytona was a flyback chronograph, God knows what that would have been for price wise. I don't think there's any other affordable flyback chronograph in the high, like a mid-luxury brands.
The Carl F. Bucher, I think they do a decently affordable flyback.
Yep,
that's a good option for one.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not know your IWC was a flyback. That gives it some major street points.
Yeah,
that's cool. Choice Math loves the Big Crown. Is going to pick it up now to wear it.
I'm not. So that's the one that the only brand that people love, the Oris, and I've never, of all the brands, I think I like Doxa better. I think I like those other brands compared to Oris. I would have probably leaned towards the Doxa or some other brand
So you're not really warmed up to
Like the
Oris.
Oris 65, I was like, oh, the Doxa Sub 300 has a beautiful bracelet. I mean, one of the best bracelets, one of the best dials, and the case shape is so unique, kind of like turtle. I mean, you know what when you see one, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's Doxa.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Keith? You kind of gone all Stonewall on us.
No, I'm just listening. I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah. Have you ever tried a Cartier or?
No.
What,
Penny's asking if people what our thoughts are on the Oris Big Crown pointer date, and I saw that when I picked up my Aquis, but because of COVID, I was just like, I'm gonna get this watch and get out of here. Like I'm not gonna dilly dally and try on a bunch of watches. But there's like a bunch I wanted to try on. They did have that red one there.
They say it's oxblood, right? Oxblood color red. It's like a really big red, and that's the one. Red is coming in, right? It's the new,
Yeah.
the new it color. I think what was it, Moser? I don't know if you guys seen the Moser Pioneer, the Mad Hatter red.
yeah.
Red Fume dial. I mean, when I say red Fume, you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a fiery star or something. And then the Oris. I think Oris had released another one, right? The Cherry.
Yeah, the 39.5 millimeter Aquis.
Cherry, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of reds coming out, which is interesting. I like how people are getting more used to other colors, red, pink, and as a person who loves color dials, I think the more.
Yeah, I definitely preferred like the darker, more burgundy kind of red, as opposed to a bright one. But
yeah, JLC used a really nice red on a couple of Reversos that they released recently.
Yeah,
and that I think to me has been the best red dial I've seen.
Yeah, that's the one Bobby has.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have the original. So you guys were talking about a 90th anniversary. I think the JLC Rouge was the 80th anniversary in the 1931 tribute dials. And I have the red one, and then I think Sanjay's lusting after, like you're talking about, the burgundy small seconds, which is even a darker red with a red strap from Argentina.
Yeah,
so that's beautiful. I can't. I was in a dilemma between those, but I agree. JLC makes the best red dials, and the one I have is an enamel red.
Bobby, the look on your face when you started describing that, you just glazed over. You look like you were in love.
Yes.
Have you considered the Fagliano one, Bobby?
No. So the thing is, my collecting thing is one color dial per this thing. So if I'm taking red, I only have one red. I have only one green. I have one brown. If it
would you trade the 90 tribute, or is that the one you had, the tribute?
Yeah, I think it's even though the small seconds is nice and everything, I think the enamel one is that's my only two-hand watch. It's just two hands. It's very simple. It doesn't even have JLC on the dial. It just has reverso.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to know. You just show the case. It's a square. You guys know it's a reverso. It's blood red color paint, and it's beautiful. So
yeah,
I might change the strap. Maybe I might get the strap, the burgundy strap. You can buy straps extra from JLC. So that might be something to think about.
Yeah. Jonathan mentions he really likes the Roberto Clemente I picked up. I no longer have that, unfortunately.
How's that? I hear a lot of good things about the Roberto Clemente.
It was really nice. I think when you mentioned the AP Safari, was it Safari?
Mm-hmm.
I instantly thought of the Roberto Clemente. The dial color is very similar to that, at least from the pictures. Very beautiful color. Very nice NATO strap that comes with it. I think the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Baseball player. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really, overall, one of the nicest Big Crown pointer dates. I think is the nicest Big Crown pointer date. Vintage style. It looks like a vintage watch, like especially with the cream dial. Looks like it's been well aged. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I really like the Oris Aquis Cherry. That one's a really nice one. I like that they have the bezel. What was it? What do you call that? The
relief bezel.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
it's like Yachtmaster style
Yeah. Yeah.
I forget. There's a term for it, but I can't.
I
bring
think
it
it might be a relief bezel.
Relief,
because-
yes, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
Because
Relief
it's like engraved and then bead blasted inside. It's sick.
Yeah.
Omega also did one on the Seamaster Necton that they released in 2020.
Well, was it the Necton that had the relief bezel? They
Was it?
did a couple with a relief bezel. Even recently, the one with the quick release, I'm pretty sure has a relief bezel as well.
Is it the Necton one that looks like the Yachtmaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So relief bezel, black dial. Yeah. The Yachtmaster is platinum though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Platinum bezel. There's a Cartier Pasha with a platinum bezel,
Ooh,
gray dial chronograph. It's stunning.
seems
and
like
there's-
Brandon's alley right there.
Yes. Does
It-
anyone have any money I can borrow?
Yeah. I would get one if I could too. But well, guys, I think it's a good time to call it quits.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone in the chat. It was really good to chat with you all, to talk with you. You all are welcome to join us here on the screen if you're comfortable with that. Thanks, Keith, Brandon, and Bobby for joining me as well. It was a nice conversation. I think it's way better than last week where we were kind of actually talking to each other. I really enjoyed this.
We're
So,
going to nitty gritty about Seamasters and submarines, right?
yeah. What would you like, Bobby? Would you like a ceramic?
No, 304 versus steel material. So that's
yeah. But yeah, I will see you guys next week. If you guys are up for another chat, if you guys are doing well. But other than that, take care, everyone. See you. Stay safe out there.
Bye.
have a good
Bye,
weekend.
everyone.
Until next time. Bye, guys.